Hello, welcome to another episode of Embers of the Imperium Homebrew character creation. Today we're going to be looking at a Letnev character. So we're going to be looking at Tika's character Pockets, pictured here. Pockets is a Letnev from the Mentak faction. So there are a few options with the Letnev. Of course, there's a Letnev from their own home system, and then there's the Letnev from the Mentak, and there is also Letnev potential with the Arborek Derzuga. Now, the Derzuga I'm not going to really cover today because when I talk about the Arborek, I'll get into that. But I just kind of want to talk about the Letnev as they pertain to the home world of Arc Prime or the Mentak, because physiologically they're going to be the same, but I gave them a little bit different in terms of proficiencies at the beginning of character creation. So to start off with the template, I kind of based the characteristics on the Deep Elf archetype, which I'm just using here, Genesis Emporium. Pulled that up here. I added a bit of threshold for wound and strain, and I changed this part, however. But I went for the 2-3-2-2-1-2. I felt like that's really appropriate for a Letnev, but kind of for different ways. So elves, of course, we always think as being fairly agile. I know they're not literally elves, but basically the Letneverse base elves. And willpower 1, and I think that works for both the Mentak and the Letnev upbringing. So with the Letnev upbringing on their, their home world, their society there is very, disciplined and militaristic and everything. So in that case, I would say willpower is low due to the fact that they're not making a lot of decisions on their own. They're basically being told what to do, so they don't have to develop their own willpower. Okay. And then I could see the Mentak being the other extreme, where they have a lot more free will and a lot more autonomy, but less reason to have to ever restrict themselves. So more likely that they just don't have to self-discipline as much. So either way, I think that leads to a lower willpower, and I think just thematically it's appropriate for either source of upbringing. So if we take a look at the character sheet here, 2-3-2-2-1-2, which of course gives us the base XP of 90. I added a little bit. I did a 9 plus brawn for the wounds and the 11 plus 1 are the willpower for the strain thresholds. And then of course the soak value is just the basic one here. I think maybe making the characters a little bit tougher than they were in the Terranoth, where the Deep Elf came from. Racial ability, so this one only has 1, and I think there's a little bit important thing with this dark vision here. So dark vision I gave them so you can remove up to 2 black dice that are imposed by darkness. It might seem like this isn't a whole lot to give them. I think the value of this is in that I'm using it as a very rare ability. So I think I've mentioned this in previous videos, but one issue I have with Dark Vision in D&D 5th edition is that pretty much everybody seems to have it. So it's no longer a bonus so much as just it's a hindrance to not have it. But I think the value in it is it being very rare, and I think rarity makes it more versatile. So it's the only faction that I'm giving Dark Vision to. And of course, there might be beasts and other creatures that have dark vision they could encounter when they're encountering other, like humans or X-Jaw or L1, Z1X or whatever. They're going to be the only ones that have dark vision. And that gives a lot of strategic possibilities in terms of combat and stealth that I think are very versatile. So even though they're only getting the 1, I think that's a pretty strong ability, or at least I'm trying to make it so that it is. But I did also give them a couple choices in beginning proficiencies, and based on if they grew up with the Mentak or with the Letnev. So what I did is chose 3 for each, and then the player gets to choose 2 of them. So for the Letnev-based character, it was a choice between discipline, vigilance, and we didn't actually choose it, so I can't remember what the third one was, but it could be something like any combat skill or something. So or piloting, either piloting would make sense, I think, as well. But so that's if they grew up Letnev. And then Mentak, I gave the choice of starting with Skullduggery, Stealth, and Streetwise. So Tika making pockets, she decided that pockets isn't particularly good with people or dealing with people, so she gave her the points in skullduggery and stealth. Okay, so that's basically it. A pretty fun character so far, so excited to see where she goes. And that's it for today, so thank you and have a wonderful day.